is a movie, and it started now. Forget about whatever financial disasters you've had, personal failures, relationship failures. What would the hero of your life's movie do right now?
Hello and welcome to Dad's Dating After Divorce, the only podcast helping you build enough core strength to suck it in for a Hinge photo without throwing your back out. My name is Jude Sandoval. I am the Divorced Advocate, founder of the Divorced Advocate, and my co-host is Dallas Bluth, founder of Black Box Dating. Dallas, it just makes me happy to get you to chuckle every single week, once a week, with my opening ridiculous statement about dads.
I hope everyone listening is looking forward to it, because I'm really looking forward to it now every week.
I know you do.
I have no idea what's going to come out of your mouth. That one was really good. It brought in so many different angles that are so true. But yeah, well, core strength, suck it in. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll be here all week, right? I know you stay up most Tuesday nights before we record on Wednesdays thinking, what is he going to say? What are we going to talk about? I'm so excited.
I won't lie. You know, I do lose a little bit of my beauty sleep thinking about what's this joke going to be. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, what we're going to be talking about this week is we talk a lot about that time post-divorce, well, and some of us, like myself, during divorce, where we have that divorce fog and we start dating, and it's kind of like, you know, what's happening? We're stressed out because of the legal battle, or just hopefully done with the legal battle. We're not quite knowing where we're at, what things are, how things are happening. And so we have talked a lot about getting ourselves in a place, building that foundation so that then you can really start to show up on the dating scene and bring your full breadth of who you are, like all the amazing stuff that you bring to it. And today I wanted to talk about one real quick, easy, simple way to do that. And that's just through physical fitness, right? Like that has a multiplier effect in anybody's life, but particularly like dads that have just gone through post-divorce, because, hey, let's be honest. I'm going to be honest here for a second. There are a million things that can distract us or keep us from really paying attention to what we need to be paying attention at this time. It could be scrolling, it can be poor diet, it can be food, it can be whatever it is. And so getting into physical fitness and starting that as your first thing, as a foundational element, to then moving to some of the more of the other stuff that we talk about, can be really an easy entry point into this whole process. Thoughts?
Yeah, taking action is the threshold. We can think all day long about what we would like to be, how we'd like to think of ourselves. We can come up with answers. We can come up with excuses. We can do so much, and it's all happening inside the head. Everything changes once you take that car out on the road and you start driving it. And that's the physical body. When you get back to a fitness routine, being physical, whether it's walking, jogging, going to the gym, playing sports with your buddies, whatever it is, doesn't matter. When you start actually getting into your physical body, everything changes, and our thoughts and understandings and feelings about the world suddenly start to move.
Yeah. And I want to frame this for dads, because I know for me, there was a shift that really needed to happen from physical fitness post-divorce to what physical fitness looked like. Well, from what physical fitness looked like pre-marriage and what physical fitness did or did not look like during the marriage to post-divorce. And I want that to be less of getting physically fit to looking for dates or attracting dates, because on social media, that's all like, God, like that's everywhere. Right. And more of being ready and capable for your kids, because you are physically in good shape, and that's going to, like we said, emanate to so many other things. So I just want to lay that groundwork and that mentality for the dads listening, because you're not going to get from Dallas and I is a couple of gym bro stuff like, you got to build that 6-pack, and she's going to want a 6-pack. I think it was funny. I got to just as a little offshoot, but I heard Elon Musk Elon Musk recently was like, yeah, 6 cars and 6 houses or a 6-pack. She's going to pick 6 cars and 6 houses. Like I thought it was hilarious. He was just totally, making fun of these social media influencer, gym bro kind of guys. And his comment was like, build your life, build who you are, and not that building a 6-pack isn't like, trying to work towards something. There's something to it, but his whole point was like, go out and make a difference in the world.
Yeah. If we're talking, I'm just saying, if we're literally talking,
we're going to get off here.
Okay, if we're literally talking about having a 6-pack, I mean, I'm not sure what the percentage of the population is. Let's say over the age of 30.
Good question.
Let's say over the age of 30. Okay. I don't know what the percentage is of men over the age of 30 that actually have a 6-pack, but boy, it's going to be way under 5%. I pretty much guarantee that.
Yeah.
It's pretty low. And the thing is, to get that 6-pack, that is like the last, I don't know, 10, 20% of the fitness regime to try to get that. Really hard to get there, really hard to maintain. As your body gets older, I'm not sure it really looks all that great, to be honest. I'm not sure that the skin necessarily looks all that flattering. But most importantly, women, if you've got the first 80, 90% of your fitness, but the 6-pack isn't clearly defined, that's not going to be the thing that turns her away. There's going to be so many other parts of your life. What is her experience like when she's with you? What's your humor like? What's your financial situation? What's your emotional intelligence? How strong are you in your masculine frame? All of that stuff is a way bigger slice of the pie chart than that last little bit of fitness where your 6-pack actually shows up.
And if that is what she's looking for, probably not going to be the woman that you want to incorporate in your life with your kids and all that stuff. So, it'll be a red flag. Yeah.
And she's the oddball out. Most of the women are not expecting this to find. I mean, I can even tell you from talking with a lot of women, when they meet the gym bro type that has this crazy 6-pack, he's pumped and everything, a lot of women are explicitly turned off by it because the first thought in their head is, this guy's really self-absorbed. This guy must spend an immense amount of time looking in the mirror, fretting over his diet and going to the gym like crazy. And all of that attention, which is our primary resources, people, all of that attention is going into himself. It's not serving others, and it's not caring for her. It's not going into his kids. That a lot of women are actually turned off by that. And the other part, I don't know how much this has been explicitly stated, but I do know several women have confirmed this. If you have an impossible standard for your own physique as a man, geez, the woman's going to be like, am I supposed to try to maintain that as well? If you've got, if you just dial it back, be fit, be in shape, be looking good. But also it's like, we're not trying to reach some unattainable perfection. The woman doesn't want to have to live up to that unless she's that type of woman. And you are this, I don't know, high achieving, a power couple. This is what both of you are on stage wearing extremely expensive clothing. Okay, there's a few people that's what they really, really want to do. That's not most of the dating pool out there. It's just not.
Yeah, and that could be your niche, but I think what you just said is really important, because if you get on social media, that is not the message that you get. And I think it would be great to have some women talking about that a little more often, because it is something that is in the back of guys' heads all the time, in particular divorced dads, especially if you're like me. When I was just before my divorce, I started to figure out I need to do something. I was getting winded going up the stairs. That was so bad. And this is coming from a fitness level of a Division I athlete at my prime. And I will say, even as a Division I athlete in my prime, where I bench press 300 pounds and squat 600 pounds, I did not have a 6-pack. Yep. So I was massive and strong and in the upper echelon of fitness, and I didn't have a 6-pack. And you look at most athletes out there, whether it's football and basketball or hockey or baseball, most of them don't have a 6-pack. Yeah. So that's not something to be to try to attain.
I'm shocked to hear that you were at that point, because looking at you today, I would imagine you were always fit. So that's like a piece of hope and everything. It's like you can get back in shape and completely convince your local dating coach that you've always been that way.
Right.
By simply the energy you bring to the table. But go ahead.
Hey, dads, this is Jude taking a quick break from this week's episode to encourage you to do two things. One, if you were like me going through your divorce, you had no idea what you were doing. That's why I founded the Divorced Advocate, to help you strategically get through your divorce. And if you have some challenges post-divorce, to remedy those. I'm going to encourage you to go to thedivorcedadvocate.com, take the weekend visitor risk assessment. It's going to give you an idea of where you're at and kind of what things are going on and how we might be able to help you out with anything. The second is, if you're ready to up your dating game, go to blackboxdating.com, get involved in Dallas's community. I've been dating now post-divorce for 13 years, and every week that I chat with Dallas and we record this episode, I learn something new. There's absolutely nobody better that's going to help you find that relationship and get back in the dating game than Dallas. Check out all that he's got to offer at blackboxdating.com. All right, back to the show. Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about that is because it's a difference between confidence and vanity, right? Okay. And I can remember. Go ahead and make your point, because I want to get into this next thing. Yep.
I wanted to comment on why women are not talking about this. It's because women aren't even aware that guys are having this discussion for the most part. We are having this in a bubble as men in social media. Women are not like, oh, where's all the six packs? Where's it? This is guys in an echo chamber with other dudes thinking and deluding ourselves into thinking this is what women actually want. It's the same way that guys obsess over obscene wealth as being necessary to get the woman of your dreams. That's guys talking about. That's not the majority of women. There's always going to be some outliers. There's going to be a small percentage that want to be with a man that has $500 million net worth. Like, yes, there are going to be some. Most women do not need or even really want that. That it's an oddball situation. We're in an echo chamber, in a bubble, when we're talking about these things as men. And that's why we don't hear women saying, hey, this isn't really a big deal. The same way, women might say, like, well, why don't men talk about cosmetics and how we don't want more makeup? We don't. Right. We're not talking about that. We're not aware of that. We're not there in the room. That's It's that equivalent. Turn the other way around. Women are not there when we're talking about. Oh well, we got to the six pack. And how do we get down? Like, women they don't care about this topic. Like, this is not something they're thinking about. That's why we don't hear their opinion on it. Yeah, that's a good point, and and also leads to needing to be involved with other men, right? Like you said, like knowing each other, talking to each other, talking about fitness. Like you need to have that feedback from other guys, because then you can talk about that stuff. You can talk about whatever your workout routine or your affinity for moving rocks, whatever it might be. That is your fitness likings, and then just know that then that's normal, then what you're doing and how you're doing it, and getting away from this whole it comes down to the vanity, and that's the social media mindset, and that's what they're selling, and that's how they are able to sell it, because it's vanity, and it's all of that whole marketing philosophy and whatnot. So the point being, get involved with other guys. Listen to this podcast. We'll give you the real deal. We're fit guys. We're not gym bros. Nothing against gym bros. Like I go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, right? So, I mean, I guess I don't know what the criteria for a gym bro is, but anyway, I'm getting way off here, and I'm just completely forgot the point. So let's get to the point that I wanted to get to before, and that is the confidence versus vanity. And so, like I said, I remember distinctly the time was where I was like, oh man, like I was going up the stairs, and it was like 12 stairs in my stair, and we had 3 kids and whatnot, and I'm like, I am freaking winded. Like, this is terrible. And I was like over 200 pounds at the time, which to me wasn't a big deal, because at my playing weight, I was like 225.
like, but I was huge, right? And so I went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, you got to lose weight. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then so those two things, and I'm like, okay. And I did. I lost 25 pounds. And immediately my asthma stopped, went away. All the aches and pains in my joints all started to subside and go away. But then something that felt really good. But then for me, getting in this mentality, having been a former athlete, was, hey, I got to be the strongest in the gym when I'm working out. I got to like still have this mentality. And so I wanted to and it's all around vanity, right? Because this is the way it was before. This is how I looked before. And it doesn't have to be, it's about that confidence that you're going to get, guys, by going into the gym or whatever exercise you want and having your body feel better.
Yeah, the distinction I make, and women talk about this all the time. They want a man who's confident, but not a man who's arrogant. Yes. Arrogance. The thing that makes it arrogance is there is a comparison component. Yeah. I'm better than, I can lift more. My body fat percentage is lower than this guy. It's arrogance. I'm better than. And if you have to be better than that, you have to be on top of somebody else. That means you need some other guy to lose, or a bunch of other guys to lose, in order for you to win. That's toxic. That's horrible. That the woman is going to sense that. And that is not a truly confident man. The confident man loves his own performance. He loves what he is succeeding at doing. He loves that he's in shape. And he knows it. And he doesn't need to compare himself to other men. Yeah. You said you go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. I have not had a gym membership in, I think it's been 13 years, something like that. Yeah. I do bodyweight workouts at home. You mentioned, I go up to the mountains. I actually went up yesterday for the first time of the season. Yeah. Up into the mountains, wheelbarrowing around rocks and stacking them, and, lots of different stuff that I do, to be physical. But I'm alone. I'm isolated when I'm doing that. But I do have certain metrics for my own performance. One of them is, what does it take to get me winded? What is, how do I feel getting up from a squat off the ground? Getting out of a chair, do I have to push off the arms or not? One in particular, to bring it back to the realm of dating, and I just do it spontaneously when I feel it. But sometimes I'll be sitting on a couch, like making out with a woman. She's on my lap, either straddling me or like side saddle, I guess. And I will get up from the couch and lift her up with me. Right. Yeah. And she is like, holy cow. I don't look like, I'm not you've met me in person. I'm trim, but I'm not buff. Yep. Like I'm not a gym bro. I'm never going to be. That's not what my physique. I'm, mesomorphic to endomorphic. Like that's sort of my body type. But that doesn't mean that I can't have top performance and confidence in my own strength inside of me. And when women feel, and that like, not only did I just do that, but I knew I could do that, and I just did it, and they experienced it, they were like, that's amazing. Now, I won't deny on the back end when they say, Dallas, you make me feel so light because other men haven't. I won't deny that doesn't feel good. Of course it does. It strokes the ego. It feels amazing. But I'm not saying, so how many other men, were able to do that? Like, no, that's arrogance. That's needing to compare oneself. So all of that long rambling to say performance is first person relationship stuff.
Right. And if you're focused and you're tuned into your body, which we're not always, even when I was an athlete, I was not tuned into my body until after my divorce, after I got into fitness, and I made that mindset change that it was about feeling good, about being fit, and about being there for my kiddos. It became a longevity thing. And we're going to talk about some other modeling and whatnot in a little bit. But until that happened, and then the focus was more internally. And so this is the same thing we talk about all the time, right, Dallas, about this internal focus on what we're thinking about and how we're showing up. It's the same thing with our fitness. Until I started to do that, I was not tuned into my body and all in the metrics like you talked about. Like, can I squat down? Can I pick something up? Can I pick somebody up? Can I do this or can I do that? Until I really started to focus on myself and think about myself.
I remember when I switched from going to the gym to calisthenics, and incidentally, it's because I had moved to Asia for a year and I knew that the gyms were not going to be as readily available. So I switched over to a calisthenic bodyweight workout, and it caused me to become more kinesthetically aware. I was aware of my body. I actually, in your opening joke that I still think is awesome, you're talking about the core strength. The core was such an abstract concept to me, even with personal trainers. It made no sense. Once I started doing all calisthenic workouts, I was able to understand what the core strength was. And the focus shifted from outward to inward. And that was a total game changer for me. And that's when I realized, and Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he's got the first 3 habits are in the personal space. The second 3 habits are in the public space. And there's a 7th one that encircles all of them. And it's interesting that after the first 3, you achieve what he calls private victory. And after the next 3, and this is in the diagram that's repeated over and over in the book, after the next 3, 4, 5, and 6, you've achieved what he calls public victory. And I don't believe he mentioned it in the book, but he's implicitly stating private victory comes before public victory.
Yes.
By having the kinesthetic awareness, by working myself, by achieving it, by becoming a winner, by achieving private victory in myself, I have to have that before I then move into the public domain, which includes your children, but also dating. Then the public victory can take place. But I have to achieve that with my own self-awareness, my own self-connection first.
Right. And so to add on to that, some of that public victory, I feel, is modeling to your children for a lifetime, because you need to do it for a lifetime. Hopefully, if you haven't done it, or if you've fallen off the wagon like I did, that this is something, if you are modeling for them, you're showing that public victory like you described, they're going to see it, right? Like, so they're going to automatically see that you're disciplined about it. You are either going to the gym, doing your calisthenic workout, whatever it might be that you're doing it. And they're going to see the results. They're going to see the results not only in your physical body, but they're going to see the results in how you're showing up mentally and emotionally, because there is the connection that it's going to have. And I promise you guys, you might not even realize it until somebody says something to you about it.
Yeah. That is it, spot on. And the physical manifestation is almost a byproduct of the fitness. The fitness is mental.
That's a new word.
Yeah,
Dallas's new word for the day, mentical.
There we go. It's physical and mental. I can't.
That's a good one. Actually, I like that. Physical and mental. Mentical. That's a new word. Yeah,
it's a contraction. My gosh, I've completely thrown myself off. I have no idea. The victory happens in the mind. It happens in the will. It happens in the emotions. It happens in setting yourself on the path. It happens in setting the physical body in motion. But then it's somewhere down the road, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months down the road, that you start to see the physical effects actually playing out. And that's how it is with everything. We don't get paid up front for the consistency in the work. It's almost like the winning is you win immediately in the moment by making the choice that you actually want to make for yourself. And then, the 6 cars, 6 houses, the 6-pack, if it shows up for you, with all the different elements, those show up in the fullness of time. But it's almost like the success that you see in the people around you. That was the long-term byproduct of an immediate victory that they chose to have with themselves, private victory over and over and over again. And that private victory that you have, that's what changes your confidence. That's what changes your energy level. That's what changes your belief in yourself. And to your point, that's what the kids are really going to pick up on. The body, that's just par for the course. That comes along as a bonus.
Yep. Well, and if you are modeling that, the probability that they're going to be doing something, and then your family lifestyle is going to be like that, is going to be very high, and then that's just going to be an automatic part. It becomes a lifestyle change. So they talk about things taking 21 days to create routines, or they call them habits. They're really routines. They're not habits. A routine, but that routine then after 90 days, 20 days, whatever it might be, then becomes a lifestyle change. And then if you're creating that lifestyle change, and again, you're focused on yourselves, guys, right? So you're focused on yourself. You're creating a lifestyle change for yourself, but that's emanating through the rest of your family. That is going to have an impact. And it might not even be conscious. They might not even be consciously aware of it. You might not even be consciously aware of it, but it's going to be having that impact ongoing for them. They're going to be fit. They're going to take care of their physical health because you've done it.
Yeah. And it is a lifestyle change. The word I use is it's an identity shift.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy that is fit. I'm the kind of guy that stays in shape. And children pick up the identities of their guardians.
Right.
And so if my identity is, no way, I let it go. That's not me. That's not me. That's not me. That's not how I live. That doesn't match who I am. That identity piece, that's actually what dictates so much of the behavior on a habitual lifestyle routine basis is I'm going to behave according to my identity. And children look at it, the core identity, it's like, well, I came from a family where everybody's obese and they make a 7-layer dip, like 3 times a week, and they're watching TV. Like, I mean, like, they're like, okay, well, I mean, they have to almost consciously make a break and say, I'm going to live differently. I don't belong in that family. Like, ugly duckling problem. Like, I'm a swan, they're ducks. I don't belong there anymore. It's because they are consciously saying, I have a different identity than the family I came from. It's really, these identity components are incredibly powerful. And I feel like people should be talking more about them. Yeah.
And as dads, we don't only owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our children to do this. So, and that's not to guilt or to shame anybody, because like you said, lots of what we've been patterned to think about ourselves or how to show up in the world, we've just learned through childhood and early adult life. And so if that is you, Dad, and that's been the lifestyle that maybe you've had throughout your marriage, this is a great opportunity now. Life is changing, whether you like it or not. And so one of the things that I always talk about in coaching with dads is there are going to be lots of things that you can't control through this process and even post-divorce, but there are some things that you can control. This is one that you can control. So if there's something like you feel like your life is spinning out, it's spiraling and you don't know and you're worried, like this is one you can control. You can control that you're going to go do your workout, whatever that might be, even if it's just starting with, like I've started guys with 15-minute walks. Right. Just 15-minute walks a day and then build from that, even if it's just starting with that 15-minute walk and doing that. And so let's move into that, because we talked last week about the no time concept and the I don't have time for that, et cetera. Right. If you have to make the time to do this, and it doesn't take a ton of time to do some of this. We're not talking about 90-minute gym sessions. We're not talking about whatever it might be, a lot of work. It can be micro workouts. It can be what Dallas was describing, which is, hey, you've got to get something done and it's physical. You're not going to hire somebody to do it. You're going to do it yourself. Or you're going to find ways that you can go and do that. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, especially with the society we have now and apps and everything else. You can find a time, but the point being is you have to schedule it.
Mm-hmm. You have to schedule, and you have to ask yourself, if you are busy, how can I make this happen? I know that I want to make this a priority. And I've been thinking about the difference between convergent thinking versus divergent thinking. Convergent thinking is bringing things down to a single point. There's one answer. And a lot of times that is, oh, I have to go to the gym, have a gym membership, spend 90 minutes, 3 days a week.
Right.
We've all somehow converged on this consensus that this is what you do to be healthy. Okay, well, not true. Just simply not true. How else could I achieve? How could I make this work for me? How can I make this part of what I'm doing? For example, if you work out way better outdoors than indoors, do that. How can I get myself to enjoy this more? Is it sports with friends? Is it working out in isolation? Is it, what are the elements? And you have to find, like, my workout routine is not like anybody else's workout routine that I know of. And I have slowly developed it over time. And for the most part, been reducing the time down and down and down. I work out very, very little in actuality, and I get the maximum results from it. But that's where I'm asking myself, how can I break these rules from the norm to make them work for me the way that I want to do it with my schedule?
Yeah, and you can work this in conjunction. You said sports and sports with friends, or if there's something that you used to like to do, pick it up again. Yeah. Or if there's something you always thought of, man, I'd really like to try. Like a little over a year ago, I started playing pickleball. Yeah. I was like, I play tennis, but let's try pickleball. And so I loved it. Go find something that you are either interested in or want to go do or learn to do. And that can be like, again, that helps. The byproduct is the physical fitness, right? Is how your body looks, but it's going to be doing way more things. The other thing to your point about these short workouts, the best shape I've been in the last 5 years was during COVID. There were no gyms. There were no opportunities. So I had decided with my daughters that, okay, well, they're not going to be at school. They're not going to have gym class anymore. They're in grade school at that time. We're not going to be sitting around the house. And so I ordered some DVDs, fitness DVDs, like the old
Jane
school.
Fonda.
It wasn't that old, but and it wasn't VHS. They were DVDs. So
Jude and leg warmers, I can see it now.
Exactly. Got my onesie on. And we all committed. We talked about it, and we got up before school, like 6 o'clock in the morning, and all four of us just in our living room would turn the video, and it was a half hour or less. It wasn't anything big and long. It was mostly jumping and calisthenics and push-ups and sit-ups and all the stuff that you were talking about. And I'll tell you what, man, I was in tremendous shape after just doing something like that. And it only took 30 minutes or less. And my daughters, like, they did it too. So you can do that. You can do yoga. You can do Pilates. There's so many different things that you can do that don't take an immense amount of time that are going to have a huge impact.
Now I'm imagining you in some Lululemon yoga pants, dude. And we've gone from questionable to I never want to see it in my life. We want
the listeners to come back, Dallas. So let's not be, creating more imaginary things.
Okay.
Well, the other point also is I run into guys from all different kinds of cultures, dads from all different kinds of cultures too. And one of the things that I want to point out to the dads that are listening that maybe goes to what you were speaking about, which is the different ways in which we have fitness. Your culture might be different, but go back. Every culture has some sort of fitness, right? Like some sort of like something that they do for fitness. Some of the cultures have fitness built in because they're walking a lot, or they don't rely on motor vehicles, or there's less social media. Like some cultures are just like that. But get back to understanding maybe what the fitness was in your childhood that was positive, if there was one, and implement that into it. Doesn't, again, to our point, it doesn't have to be the gym. It doesn't have to be yoga. It doesn't have to be anything. And maybe it doesn't even have to be what you did as a kid, but find something that fits and works in with your family.
And you know what really makes that effective is when you are deciding for yourself and you're owning it in your own way. This is how I do my workouts. It becomes part of your identity. I don't know anybody else that moves rocks around in the mountains as part of their fitness routine. That makes it more powerful because it's part of me. It's part of my identity. It's part of how I choose it. I'm not just following somebody else's routine. I've owned it for myself. There's a huge power in autonomy, and in when we own it and we decide how we're going to make this work for ourselves. There's a book that I've been reading that like it's basically going to turn into a workbook for me, and I knew I was going to do it. And to own it, what I did was I actually was like, I'm going to spiral bound this thing so it's easier for me to flip through it and work through it like a workbook. So I took a knife to the binding and I cut out all the pages, and then I took a trimmer and trimmed off all the glued ends, and then I punched it and then put the spiral binding through it. And that book feels way more like mine now that I've chopped it up and, and used it. My relationship to it is I own that book. That's my book now, even though I didn't write it. The material in it, the wisdom in it, that is mine to own. Yeah. I think we need to look at workouts the same way. Like, pickleball might be your thing, but you start out by doing sprints, or maybe you're trading off with partners, and while somebody else is doing it, you take a lap around the park. Like, you own it in whatever way makes sense to you. You do burpees or whatever it is, but you own it in a way that works for you so that you can get the kind of results you want. And because ultimately, if we're following somebody else's routine, that still has elements of passivity in it. But if I'm owning it and I'm driving myself because I am forging my own path as a man, that's going to have a whole different kind of power in it.
Right. And again, another statement and modeling to your kiddos about that they don't have to look to the norms of whatever. But maybe that is, right? Like maybe you grew up playing basketball, right? And there was a culture that in your environment or where you grew up, or maybe you grew up in another country. Maybe it was cricket, maybe it was soccer, maybe it was something else. So all of those things, that's my point around whatever it is. Like just find it and do it. Or if it's something completely different, it could be dance. Right. Like you could be a dancer. That's an amazing exercise and workout as well. So it could be something creative like that. That maybe falls creative and physical. Right. So the point just being find something, guys. Because there's no excuse. There is absolutely no excuse not to do it.
There's no excuse and there's no replacement. Employing the body is the only way to achieve certain feelings and certain physiological changes. We as guys, I mean, everybody does this, but as men, we will go up into our heads. It's one of the main challenges I have with my clients is we're up in our heads.
I never do that.
We have the answer to everything and we have a response to everything. We've got it all figured out. We've got it all there. We've got it all there. Yeah. Theoretically in your head. Right. The minute that you take it into the physical plane, everything changes. It becomes a lived experience. We have to, and it's very rarely fun out of the gate. It always takes a little bit of like almost a surprise push from behind to like throw us in the pool. And then we're like, okay, it's not that bad, but that initial jump in is kind of always takes a little bit of force, to just get the inertia going and to get us out of our comfortable place. Being in the head is the comfortable default place for most men. Putting yourself into the physicality is something we have to choose to do. And it is the pure, simple exercising of discipline when you do it.
Yeah. And guys, so, we're giving you a little rah-rah here, but I want you to focus on that hero mentality that you need to do this, not just for yourself, but for your kids. And I would say more than ever, because of how our society is structured and all of the distractions that kids have, that it is absolutely critical that you do this. I mean, the barrier to doing this is so low, and the ability to do this is so easy that it is simply, I say it's a no-brainer, but but what you're saying is we get in our head, right? It is a no-brainer, but we get in our head.
It's a harder. You got to use your heart to get into it.
Great point. Yeah.
Yeah. It takes a certain effort to push yourself out of that, and so much of what the kids see, on social media, it's all videos and talk and all these ideas. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, the expression, put your body where your mouth is, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all these people are talking about it, but dad's in the backyard doing pull-ups on a bar, you know, on 2 4x4s that he cemented into the ground.
Right.
Okay, on a fundamental instinctive level, the kids know the difference. They can see that TikTok is a bunch of bullshit, you know, run through filters and AI versus my dad's a badass who's actually doing pull-ups in the backyard. Like, they can feel the difference. Like there's an instinctive part that's been around for 250,000 years in humans that knows the difference. But you have to again, like put your body where your mouth is. You can't just talk about it. You have to, and well, this is my number one tenet with masculinity: lead with the body. You can sit there talking all day long, but until you walk up to that woman, you're not really doing anything. You have to lead with the body. When you're having a conflict with a woman, if you try to talk through her with it, that usually doesn't get you a whole lot better. You have to physically show up with a level of groundedness and calmness and self-assuredness. That's what actually shifts things. Guys, the preliminary step to that is workouts with yourself, where you get out of your head, out of your mouth, and it's not just talk, you're moving with your body.
Yeah. I'm just going to finish with this silly meme I saw, but it struck a chord with me because I'm a dad of daughters. So guys who are listening with daughters, it said, "I don't work out for vanity. I work out to hear," and it was a quote, "Bro, did you see her dad?" So I'm like, that is my mantra, right? Bro, did you see your dad? So there, take that one, guys, for motivation. Put it up on your mirror so that your daughter's boyfriends be like, bro, did you see your dad?
And if you're looking for a good way to intimidate potential boyfriends for your daughters, that also works really well.
There you go. Exactly. All right. I want to talk also now in this last part about the flip side of the physical fitness part, which is nutrition, because you can be doing the physical fitness part of it all day long, but if you're not taking care of your nutrition, they go hand in hand, guys. So you have to be paying attention to it. And again, this is just a symptom, I guess you could say, of our society, with all the fast food and fast prepared food and processed food, and the ability to grab stuff fast and do stuff fast, which works really great if you're going to maybe do a HIIT workout and something like that with your fitness, but it does not work really well when you're doing it with your nutrition. So you need to, you absolutely have got to cut out the processed foods and the fast foods, because those are all just empty calories. And this, again, is a no-brainer. This is not complicated stuff. Now we've got the proliferation of all these diet shots and everything else that are subduing. It's just math. It's caloric intake versus how much caloric burning you're going to do in your exercise. And that's all it comes down to, guys. So a high protein diet, some fiber in your diet, some carbohydrates, like any of these, all of these different diets that are out there, you can follow some of them. Some of them might be good for a short term if you're trying to get some sort of benefit, but long term, there's just some real basics around whole foods. It's going to take time. You got to plan. So again, this is where you're going to plan. And I say, Dallas, and tell me what you think about this, because I think you're going to spend more time planning nutrition and food and prepping food than you would actually even in the fitness part of it.
You can.
I think so.
It depends on what you're looking for. I don't.
More of my time.
Yeah, I don't. So a little bit of my backstory. I've never really worried a whole lot about what I ate. And as things got older, I got a little more embarrassed of how the photos looked, around the midsection. And then I was reading Comfort Crisis. I'll make this a really, really short story. Anyway, started tracking my calories and started realizing that I was taking in way more than I was burning with my active metabolic rate. And over a space of 6 months, I lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's a pound a week, basically. That's a 500 calorie deficit, 7 days a week on average. 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. In case anybody doesn't know the math, that's what the math is. If you are at a calorie deficit of 500 calories per day, you're at a calorie deficit per week of 3,500 calories. That's 1 pound of fat per week. You keep doing that consistently as an aggregate total over time. Well, I mean, in a year, that's 50 pounds that you would lose. Yeah. That's a lot of weight in 1 year. And the cool thing is if you do it at a moderate pace of 1 pound a week, you're adjusting your identity and lifestyle along the way so that it'll stick. If you're like, oh, I dropped 4 pounds this week and 4 pounds the next week. Yeah, you're in a dive. It's like you're in a dive bomber, kamikaze like stance. It's like, no. You want to find a new cruising altitude that works for you. And that's why you do it. And so that was the first thing that I learned was we have a calorie, I call it a calorie budget. I've got a dollar budget. I got a calorie budget. And there's a certain amount of calories I get to spend. Guess what? They're my flipping calories. I get to spend them however I want on whatever I want. Now, there's certain items that I love to eat that like eat up that budget like crazy. And there are other things that I love to eat because I'm not hungry afterwards and they don't eat up much of that budget. Those two categories of foods, I keep this really simple. There's feasting and then there are staples. We're supposed to historically eat staples most of the time because that's what's available. And then you feast occasionally on special occasions.
I like that.
And there's two different hunger systems connected with it. There's genuine hunger, which is where the staples live. And then there is the reward hunger, which is, oh my gosh, like this cake's amazing. I better eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a reason for that historically. We're supposed to historically eat all that we can when the food's available because the lean times are a coming and we want to have the calories stored up. The problem is in today's society, yes, it is fast and convenient. But on top of that, it is the feasting that is insatiable, which means that our consumption becomes insatiable, which means the profits of the food people become unstoppable. There's no limit to it.
Yeah.
So the trick is to realize, no, I can't feast all the time because we never go through the lean times. Unless you're doing your intermittent fasting, which I know you're quite good at. But for the average person, we don't experience lean times. So we have to be, and my word for this is strategic. Okay. I eat staples the majority of the time, and then I am strategic in my feasting.
And when you say staples, what are your staples?
Can of salmon, can of tuna, pop it out, drain it, put it in a bowl, chop up some celery to like give it some more fiber and some more stuff in it. Mix in some avocado-based mayonnaise, some Greek yogurt, some whatever. Mix it in a bowl, some Triscuits or some more veggies or whatever. But I would challenge, so one, simple as anything. And my expectation with that is to not be hungry. I mean, I like the way it tastes. It works for me. But I'm not there trying to I'm not trying to like cheat and go like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing cuisine. Like, no, historically, we ate boring food most of the time.
Right. Yeah.
But you know what makes it not boring? Is I was hungry, like really hungry, and now I'm not. That is so not boring to eat food when you're hungry. And like, that's what we've lost connection with. And so I feel like I'm on a soapbox now, like going at this.
I think this is really, really good information for the dads because it's not something. So unless you've done something like you did, which is spend the time to figure this out, lose 30 pounds, I did the same thing that I described, right? And know and understand. It is simple, but so many people don't know about this.
It's simple, but it's not easy. It takes changing your palate, changing your sensitivity. At first, staples seem bland until you get back in touch with the real genuine hunger level that you are. And then once you do, I mean, when you're genuinely hungry, the best seasoning is hunger. When you're genuinely hungry, you're very grateful to have just about anything to eat. Guys, that's how humans lived up until about 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah,
And in certain parts of the world, it's still like that today. We are in a society where we are feasting constantly. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, and let's talk about that in the context of dads and kids and needing to feed the kids and get everything done. So that's where guys, then things get off kilter. And look, it's easy. It's so easy for us to sit here and talk about it. I know the challenge. I still, with my teenage daughters, fight this because they'll love to just grab some crappy food at school. And then I'm like, no, let's eat dinner or make your lunch or bring something good. And so it's this constant tug of war with them, but also in trying to model for them. So they complain sometimes what you're just described, like, my food is so boring or whatever, but it's just something that's meat and potatoes and vegetables or some starch or something like a balance of those food, but we're not putting sauces and we're not doing like tons of dairy and cheeses and stuff like we're not making it that palate thing like you talked about.
Well, you know what's interesting, and I was having a discussion with a meditation buddy of mine. Like that's what he does, is he coaches meditation. We were talking about boredom. Boredom has such a negative connotation, but it's one of the healthiest things you can possibly do in your life.
Yes.
The start of every meditation session begins with boredom. And you're like, what? Oh, I'm not doing anything. No stimulation. That's the whole point. I'm not entertaining myself. And then what happens under the surface? Food, the same thing. It's like, oh, well, it's boring. It's like, bored. Being bored is part of is part of a healthy life that is ultimately very exciting. You know, it's like, what's not boring? It's like, well, I have this coffee mug. I keep it just because it's hilarious. It's like abs are great, but have you tried donuts? and it's so true. But it's like, it's like donuts are great, but have you tried abs? Like it's, and it's a question of like the instant gratification versus the long-term excitement. If you want those abs to come out, like you can't eat a lot of donuts. You can eat maybe a couple, I think. I don't know. I'm not a nutrition and fitness expert, but you might be able to eat a couple, but you can't eat a lot of them. And but the question is, do you want your joy and your excitement to happen immediately, which is a quick hit of dopamine, to the body, which ultimately doesn't lead to healthy places? Or are you looking for long-term growing excitement over time, which is, I'm eating boring food a lot of the time, but it's so that in the end I have a very exciting set of results. Analogous with finances, it's boring to save money until suddenly one day it's not boring anymore.
Yeah. Well, and so I learned this phrase in a parenting class when my daughters were young, and it's along the same lines, which is boredom is the precursor to creativity.
There you go.
So if you're, and this is for children too, so they're going to find what, if you apply this across the board, like, oh, I'm bored. My daughters know now not to say I'm bored, right? Like, because I'll either
that they are bored. Okay,
that they're bored. Yeah. Like, because I'll either have something like creative and fun, which is usually like maybe like cleaning, or it's like, oh, sorry, what are you going to do about that? And then they can they'll always find something, which is something that was built in for us, at least in our age. We're approximately the same age, but we just had to go find stuff to do. We didn't have stuff thrown in our faces all day long, or we could click on and click off at a notice. We had to go figure out things. So boredom was all. I mean, I don't know. I don't ever remember we didn't have all this stuff growing up. I don't ever remember being bored as a child. Like I was doing so much crap, some of it not great, but I was just still doing something, right? Like I was out there doing something. So the boredom thing is really good across the board, guys. And then let's, that can apply to you too. Like you being bored in your own life. I know you want to make a joke. Go ahead.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay. I mean, that's awesome. And boredom is the precursor to creativity. And I think it's important to model for children. They're like, oh, it's really boring. And you can say, yes, it is. And that's actually exciting to me, to choose the boredom. And
camping. Best possible thing you can ever do with your kids. It is completely boring. You're in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around except, not nothing, like none of the regular stuff that you have in your house. And it is the most amazing thing. You will just be flabbergasted by what your kids find and do and how they fill an entire day. And like, it was just, I did it out of financial necessity growing up with my daughters. It was an inexpensive thing to do. The best thing that I've ever done is take them camping regularly, being out in nature. So it is just absolutely amazing.
And similar to the fitness, this is something you model. You model embracing the boredom to go go towards it, to choose these things, because you know the outcome on the other side is a steady growth, healthy product eventually in your life. You know that this is part of it, and you gotta model it and own it. And heck, I mean, even stare down with the kids. You know, they're eating the fish sticks, you know, like done out of that, and you're eating your, you know, boring salad, and they're like, oh, it's so boring. You just stare at them, going like, one day you'll get it. Like, this is actually where it's at, and they and you own it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would encourage them not to fix different things for different people.
Okay, I haven't gotten into this.
Yeah. Definitely do not do that. Like, you're gonna make stuff, and let's talk a little bit about that. If you're choosing between cheeseburgers from McDonald's or going to the store, picking up a head of lettuce in a pouch of tuna, and making a tuna a salad with tuna and some other veggies, pick the other one. It's going to take a little bit of time, but here's the other thing, guys. Again, with this whole modeling thing, which is what we're doing as dads, we're preparing our children to be able to be healthy and functioning adults, right? That is our number one, pretty much singular goal in our life as fathers. Okay, so if you teach them how to go to the store, if you have them help you to pick out the lettuce and the tuna, they have different flavors of tuna now, which is amazing, right? So all this boring tuna that we were eating out of a can growing up, now they have like these different flavors, hot buffalo and lemon and pepper. And it's like, okay, well, there's a choice, right? So you can help them to learn to do that, and then make them responsible. Make them responsible for doing some of this. Depending upon the age, it doesn't have to be difficult, but they can open a can of tuna at 5 years old, 6 years old, or scoop the tuna in, or mix it up, or put it on the salad, or whatever it is. That's again, you're teaching them, you're helping them, you're modeling, you're doing it by modeling for them. Yes, it takes a little bit of extra time. So the thing I'll say about that is, if you're filling the time in their time with all kinds of other stuff and not doing this stuff, reassess what it is that the lifestyle that you have and what you're doing. If you're constantly busy where you have to grab a McDonald's cheeseburger, instead of being able to stop at the store and grab a head of lettuce and take the extra half hour to do that and prep that, you need to reassess your life and your environment to make sure that you can do those things, because that's going to be way more important than the 100 things that you might be running around doing with them prior. So that's my little soapbox for this episode.
Absolutely. Well, and and the connection time and the bonding time, when you're shopping together, shoulder to shoulder, making stuff, making a joke about it, or, negotiating who got to pick the flavor the last time, who gets to pick it this time. And then the time in the kitchen, I mean, where you're prepping and making things and whatever, like that's the nuts and bolts of the relationship. Coming back to dating for a minute, there are so many women that say like, well, I love cooking with a partner. Like so many women talk about that.
I love doing that. I love to cook. Like, I'm Italian, so everything's about food.
Okay.
And women love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of what we have to see is when you go to McDonald's, it's like, oh, well, what do you want? What do you want? Everyone's looking at a menu and just picking, but it's like we're on different TV stations or something. Oh, what did you get? And you divvy it out from the bag. There's no communal connecting happening when that happens.
Right.
There's just none. And particularly if you're involved in the creation of the meal, as a group, as a family, and then you're eating the meal, there's a unity there. There's a coming together that, like, the McDonald's bag just doesn't do that. It does not create a sense of connection in the family. And and that's the other thing that I feel like, the social media just really does well, is disconnect people from each other. So this, it's not just about the nutrition. The nutrition is almost just an excuse. The meal planning and prepping is just an excuse and a context for spending the time with the kids.
Yeah, and that is such an underrated, unappreciated, almost forgotten concept, is sharing a meal together with your kids. And I would say, guys, if there's one thing that you can try to, like, around this whole nutrition thing and whatnot, try to plan one meal together. It is for me and my daughters. They literally will just sit there and talk, right? Like, I don't do it. It used to be I used to bring up stuff, but we had no rule. Like, you don't bring phones. We don't bring phones. There's no TV on. There's no radio. Like, there's nothing going on. It's just we're eating and sharing a meal. But now, Dallas, it's amazing. They just sit there. Like, even this morning, we ate breakfast because I get up and we'll make breakfast. Like, I'm like, you guys got to go. And they're like just chatting away. Yeah. It's the most amazing thing. And not that that's going to happen with everybody, but for me, it's been amazing. If I want to have a discussion, I make a meal. And then like, I don't even have to do anything. I can just bring, like, it just happens. It's amazing.
You know, and the cool thing is, particularly because you have daughters, you're teaching them that it's okay to share with a man. You know, they see that it's fine to open their feelings, to do it. And when they meet guys that don't listen and don't really care about their feelings, they're going to immediately identify them as like, funny, this doesn't feel like it did with my dad. I'm not sure I actually want to get more involved with this guy. Like, you're setting a great experiential baseline for them to compare it with. And, you know, and the fact that they're in that place means they're releasing the cortisol when that happens. You know, they're regulating themselves. They're getting into a healthy place. They're getting a relaxed place, which is the confident place. That also is the place where they're going to be able to listen to you better, you know, when the time comes for them to hear some important advice that might be coming their way. Yeah, is a beautiful thing, man. I'm so glad to hear that's what your dinner table's like.
And for boys too, for boys and girls, there's just so many. I can't even think about all the benefits. Like, you just brought up some more. I'm thinking about like a bunch more, but that's not what this podcast is about. We're just and we're getting off the nutrition thing, but the benefit, there are all kinds of benefits to that, and paying attention to your nutrition and modeling it. We'll just leave it at that.
Well, and we'll bring it back real quick to, I mean, boys and girls, but boys particularly, because, you know, we sort of talked about girls because you have all girls. But, you know, take your kid to the park and throw the ball around, you know, like kick the ball around, do things. And even if they're really young, you can make it more physically active for yourself by doing silly, goofy, you know, dad stuff and running around. You know, you can pick him up, put him on your shoulders. There's a built-in weight for you. You know, there's so many things you can do, and involving the kids in the physical activity and, you know, under the guise of play, but you're running out of breath, you know, pretend races with the kids, whatever it is. Involving them in that process is probably one of the better ways to get in physical shape. You tell me. I mean, I think that would be...
well, I call it be the hero of your own life. Be the hero of your own life, because I wrote an article about this years ago about how we fixate, and there's nothing wrong with professional sports and watching sports or anything else, movies or anything else, but we've got this, you know, we project this hero mentality on all of these people. And instead of taking that and doing what you just described, throw the ball in your backyard, have a football game a flag football, touch game in your backyard, go coach your kid's team. Or if you don't have one, start one, or whatever it might be. And this doesn't have to just be sports. It can be the arts. It can be anything, but be the hero of your own life. Don't just watch for other heroes to you know, for your kids to emanate, because what's going to happen is they're going to be looking everywhere that may or may not be somewhere that you want them to be looking. And if you are that hero of their life and of that environment, then, you know, you're creating that healthy, functioning adult that is going to be able to live a full life like you are living. So that's why it's really, really important to be doing that stuff with your sons, with your daughters. And it's not complicated. It's not complicated. It's simple as cooking something, as simple as throwing the football around, as simple as going and doing something physical like a walk or a hike.
And it's giving them a realistic model. When you're talking about professional athletes or six packs online, these aren't realistic models. Right. These aren't realistic achievements. Yes, potentially for a moment, for a season in life, maybe, you know, some of these things might be achievable, but the whole point is when you're the one modeling it, it's much more realistic. It's much closer to home.
Well, and I'm going to wrap it up just with this, Dallas, is they're not going to be like, yeah, dad, yay, dad. Like the commercial where they have like the chef and then the sports guy is like cheering the chef while he's cooking, right? Like the opposite, like people are cheering people when they come off the bus, or like some sports fans. You're not going to get that, guys. Right. But we don't need to get that. And I promise you then, but when they grow up, the result, the gold medal that you're going to get, the cheering that you're going to get is in your head as you watch them be healthy, functioning adults. And then you are going to be so immensely proud and so happy to see them functioning that you don't need all the cheering. You didn't need all the rah-rah about it, but you're not going to get the rah-rah. You're not going to get the, like, oh, thank you, Dad. Oh, like, way to go. Like, you forced us to go off for a walk, or you made us eat a salad, or you're not going to get that in the moment. It's just not going to happen. Okay. Yeah. But there's going to be so many benefits to it. So, okay.
You might get some of it later in life, but no guarantees.
Maybe.
That's not why you're doing it.
No guarantees, but we're not, I mean, that's not where we're at. That's not where we're dads. That's not why we're men. Like, right. Just, that has never been a philosophy of men until recently. Like, we showed up and we got it done and we lived life because we were men and we did what we were supposed to. This is a whole, and that's a whole nother episode. So let's just end it there. We got way off, but hopefully you see the hero of your own life is a really important concept, I think, for any man, but for a dad in particular. The last part of the nutrition thing I don't want to skip out on, Dallas. And even though we're going long, thanks guys for listening to us, is the alcohol consumption, because that is so just the caloric intake alone that you described, and the math is, it blows it up, guys. Yeah. So it's gonna blow it up. Even a beer or two, even a light beer or two is gonna do that. A greater consumption than that is really gonna screw it up. Not to mention, and look, I'm not a Puritan. I'm not like anti-alcohol or anything. The hard facts are it is a toxin in your body. Mm-hmm. So it's not, there's very little benefit to putting a lot of it into your body. And just like what you said, like, hey, a donut, it's okay to have a donut. It's okay to have some cake. It's okay to have a drink, but large consumption is going to just screw things up. Not even to talk about what the damage it can do if you're inebriated. Yeah.
Large consumption and consistent consumption. You don't want it to be habitual. Alcohol isn't a staple. If you're using alcohol like it's a staple, it's in the wrong category. Alcohol is a part of feasting. And for me, alcohol, feasting, I do it strategically. Mm-hmm. There is a time and a place when I need to cut loose. Alcohol can be very useful and helpful for that, but I'm using it strategically. Yeah, that's pretty much, that. And see above that, like, one shot of a liquor is about the same as 30 grams of protein in a can of tuna. Those are about the same. Yeah. And, and you can go through a lot of shots without really realizing it very, very fast.
Yeah. So just pay attention to it, guys. It's not, just like anything, if it's done in the right mindset for the right reason, it's perfectly fine. But again, that's not everything in our society is really geared around alcohol and drinking, whether it's sporting events or eating out or everything. Like, the first thing is you want to drink, you want to drink, you want to drink, you want to drink. So I think that's changing a little bit here. I'm starting to see that change with a lot of people. I think is a good thing. But again, be the hero of your life, guys, and be different. Be different. And that's going to model something very, very powerful for your kiddos by just saying, well, to use that term, just say no, right? That's the anti-drug. Some of these, campaigns from childhood get stuck in your brain. Yeah. They work, right?
Yeah. Be the hero of your life. Be like Jude. Buy DVDs and do workouts with your daughters at home before school. Get them up extra early. That's what a hero looks like. Yeah.
I wish I took video of some of those. It was just funny and crazy. And they'll tell you, and if you ever talk, we should have them on sometime and talk, about some of these stories, because they've got lots of fun stuff to say about that. But anyway, that's a whole nother episode too. All right, guys, thanks for listening this week. I hope that you found some value in what we shared. I think the theme, Dallas, was be the hero of your own life. Start with the physical fitness. It is the easiest thing to do and the easiest thing to get rolling on. Is going to have the greatest multiplier effect for you and your family and in your life.
Yeah. For some men or for some people, getting physical isn't easy. It's simple. Definitely it's simple. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. I like that being physical is so concrete. It is a simple, understandable, tangible thing. And you will feel it immediately. Things will shift around.
Yep.
Don't rationalize your way out of it. Don't think, oh, I just went on a workout like last week and it was 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Get in your body. It changes the whole game around, the whole game.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, guys. And go check out everything. What do we got? When do we have the next, we don't have the next Ask a Dating Coach for a few weeks here. So you got anything going on in your community here?
Putting together some new packages for the black box dating, breaking down the clientele into 4 groups based on whether they're working, they want to get more first dates or they get plenty of first. Oh, Jesus.
What happened?
Oh,
you're still there,
great.
but
okay.
More.
I thought we had an internet cutout like last time. Never mind.
No, you're still going.
Okay, so sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, I'm packaging together some different workshop series I'm going to be doing with the guys based on whether you're looking for more first dates or you got plenty of first dates, you're looking for more second and third dates, or you're getting plenty of those dates and you're looking for, how to move it into the bedroom. And you're getting lots of dates and sex, but you're not finding the woman that you really want to connect with. And that's going to be the highest level. I'm breaking down these clients. I'm currently in the process of packaging up these workshops and getting them rolled out. So stay tuned. In the meantime, jump over to Dad's Dating After Divorce, get on the mailing list, join the Ask a Dating Coach event. It's the 3rd Thursday of every month. Is that right, Jude?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, good. So jump on there.
The next date, the third Thursday. So the next one is going to be April 16th. So check out all Dallas's offerings at blackboxdating.com. Yeah. Check out the events page at thedivorcedadvocate.com. Leave us a star rating, please. Leave us a comment, share far and wide in social media. Helps proliferate this to all the dads that are looking to get back out there and get on Hinge and suck in your stomach so that you look nice and svelte. All right, my friend. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Talk to you next week.
Be the hero of your own movie. If your life was a movie and it started now, forget about whatever financial disasters you've had, personal failures, relationship failures. What would the hero of your life's movie do?